Take the L podcast, where we are focusing on the lesson over the loss. And today we have a very special guest. It took us a while to get here.
It did.
January put us in a chokehold.
It did. January 2023 in general was off to a blazing start in many ways.
Honestly, February 1st is my new year.
Okay.
Yeah, January just...
That's fair.
I had a great birthday, all of that, but just...
And now we're ready to have resolution?
Yeah, like this is where the work starts. So February 1st, shout out to the new year.
Yeah, shout out to February.
Yeah, we haven't been here since for the new year, actually, Ty, now that I think about it.
Oh.
So this is actually my first recorded episode of this year.
I love it.
But we have you, Bridget Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so weird to say my whole name.
It is very weird.
It's weird to say my whole name.
It's very weird.
I feel like I've resigned myself to just the first name basis.
Yeah.
Especially because of my podcast. So I'm always just kind of like, yeah, I'm just Bridget now.
I feel like you singing is Bridget Kelly,
yes.
but you podcast is Bridget.
Yeah.
And obviously you're my friend, so I'm not calling you.
Yeah, no.
Bridget
hey, this is my friend Bridget Kelly. It's awkward as fuck. I'm glad you don't do that.
Like when I be like Bridget, and then people be like, you mean Bridget Kelly? And I'm like, oh yeah, she is
that girl. You're like, yeah, that girl.
She is a singer. But yeah, so I actually like to have people do their own intros.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to tell you that part.
Okay.
That's fine. We're winging it.
Great. Here we are. So I'm glad I can swim just deep in.
I want you to do your own intro because I want you to say who you are to you.
Ooh.
Like, I can say Bridget Kelly, Grammy Award winning podcaster, all those things that I love. But I want you to say who you think you are because that gives you a special personal layer.
I'm so happy you asked me this after some Jameson. So I am I'm a flower to many and a weed to few.
Wow.
Always growing, always evolving. I'm an artist. And by artist it could be linguistics, it could be music, it could be storytelling. It could be any of those things. I'm a friend. I am a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a fiance. And I'm a lover of all things creative and curious and Black. That's what I'm a lover of. So I'm just a lover in general.
So this is why I do this.
Yeah.
I could easily make an intro. But this shit, I would have never made that for you. I would have a linguist. The fuck I thought.
Yeah, we could. I
would have never made that for you.
The gift of gab. Well, it's interesting because I never thought of it that way. I was the kid in school growing up that was like, oh my God, she's so wonderful and polite and well mannered, and then she's distracted because she's disruptive in class. Because I would disrupt the class with conversations. I'd be talking to everybody.
Shout out to all the women who got talked too much on their report card.
Right.
Because
I didn't even get talked too much. I went to Catholic school, so it was disruptive.
I went to Catholic school, and they were like both.
My cop during that time when I was a kid was in the bathroom. It was like, no, sis, we're putting you all the way over there, so you can't interrupt. You can't interrupt people's sleep.
I feel like you unlocked a core memory. I'm like, was mine too? But I can't remember.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad. But shout out to the nuns. They always, it's always kept us in our place. But yeah, that's who I am. I think I have grown tremendously in the last couple of years between a pandemic, a career pivot, a pandemic relationship.
Our friendship.
And friendship evolutions and grieving friendship changes too. I think the older we get, it gets harder we apply a lot of pressure to ourselves and our friends to show up differently than they can. But yeah, I think I'm in a great space right now. I'm happy that you let me intro myself because I always Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Bridget Kelly, born and raised in New York.
However, she still won a Grammy though. Like
still did.
Don't forget that part. Put some respect on my friend's name.
And still just as salty as Beyonce not winning Album of the Year. Because
this is about a certain topic, but the way.
Had to put that out there.
I wanted to riot at midnight.
There's just so many Arthur fists around that conversation. Just everybody wants to fight. We all want to fight.
They really bring Beyonce to the Grammys every year with the promise of Album of the Year. And she shows up with that fake ass smile because she didn't want to be smiling in the first place. She shows up with that fake ass smile and then they still don't give her the Blood Clot Award. And then somebody who does get the award or gets the award that she was supposed to get, they recognize her and say, "This award is for you." Just give
Or
her
they
the
recognize that they're not worthy of the award.
award. Literally.
I mean, to me that was the ultimate icing on the cake. Was a white European man,
And then
the ultimate the ultimate bloodline of a colonizer getting up and being like, "This
doesn't usually
this
happen to
doesn't
people
happen
like
to
me."
people like me." Well,
Sir.
that's
That's not what this podcast is about.
It's
But
not.
I will say,
But yes,
I saw Mouse post. Mouse Jones. Shout out to Mouse.
shout out to Mouse. We love Mouse.
We do love Mouse. I love Mouse. I hate him, but I love Mouse. That's my brother, but that's why I hate him.
Yes.
Mouse posted about how like they were interviewing, I guess like the Grammy like selection. The selection team, and there was like, you know, we decided not to give it to Beyonce because she would always win everything, or they decided to give it to somebody else, basically along the lines of Beyonce wins everything. So we were trying to expand who the winners were, and it was like, if she wins everything, it's because she deserves it.
I think people just hate that a black woman is the obvious choice.
Child,
And that's that on that.
Let's get into the openers.
A lot of people hate that a black woman is the obvious choice.
Because
they don't like that it's undisputed because they've been able to dispute everything else.
Because nobody's touching Beyonce. They're like, oh, Taylor Swift shut down Ticketmaster. Imagine what Beyonce is about to burn that shit to the ground.
No, they had to set up 3 to 4 different portals registrations to verify just to get access to pre-sale before the regular sale.
So that way the bots don't get it. And then we're still waitlisted on everything.
And people are still going to spend that $9,000 to be on the floor. Be clear. People are going to spend that.
They are.
People are going to spend that.
Not
I. But people will. And rightfully so. She's worthy of that. But yes, I only make that comparison because I think she is probably the only artist that we have seen take those kinds of L's publicly in such a gracious way that it's almost infuriating how gracious she is. It's almost like, bitch, flip the table. Like at this point, don't invite me nowhere. Stop fucking inviting me. Flip the table on your way out.
Virgo. It's 100% giving Virgo. I want to know Beyonce's full chart.
Like I don't want Virgo's groove. I want Virgo's fire.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Like Beyonce is giving full Virgo. Like I feel like she has multiple Virgos on her chart because
where's Sasha Fierce? Because we saw her for 1 year.
Where is Sasha Fierce?
Where's
Ring the Alarm?
Where's Ring the Alarm?
Ring
Sasha
the Grammy.
Fierce.
If Beyonce ever sees this, I know she probably won't, but if you ever see this, Beyonce, we will fight with you. Like we want you to flip the table, ring the fucking alarm, and I will be behind you 100%.
I also don't respect the fact that they also utilized her likeness and her name and advertising that she was gonna be there and getting Lizzo involved. Like, where's Beyonce?
Did you see Lizzo's reaction? She said Beyonce's here. Where?
Yes,
and she wasn't even there yet.
But again, what increases viewership is Beyonce's presence.
Yeah.
So you're playing in her face and you're playing in ours. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
We're turning this into See the Thing Is. That's
sorry.
actually
sorry. We
Bridget's
talked about this.
amazing
We talked about this
podcast.
on my pod, so we don't need to talk about it here. But yes.
I'm here to talk about it anytime. But this is also Bridget's amazing podcast. See the Thing Is.
Thank you.
We were on the wrong podcast for like 2 minutes just now. We're bringing it back.
But you know what? I brought it. I did want to bring attention to it only because I think that once you are past a certain point in your existence, your public existence, not celebrity existence, public existence, with people knowing you professionally, people knowing you personally, once you have kind of accepted and gotten comfortable with the fact that they may never see you for all that you are, you just kind of let it roll off you. Prior to this on the walk here, I literally said to you, I wish that I didn't let so many things roll off me. I wish that.
And now we getting mad at Beyonce for doing the same.
And now I'm getting mad at Beyonce, and I'm like, she don't care no more. Like, she's tired, and I don't blame her. But I'm also in that place where I'm like, I wish that I had more flip the table in me. I don't think I have that much.
But
more
I don't
in me.
blame her. But also, I have two sides of this coin. Beyonce is Beyonce.
Yeah.
Literally everybody knows that she deserves every single award.
Yeah.
That album came out in July? People are still playing that album.
People had parties themed specifically for that album.
Like, that album has longevity.
Yeah.
It literally has been deemed the Black Joy album. Like, and it's not just for Black people. the whites love Renaissance. The whites love all of Beyonce's album.
That's correct.
But everybody loves Beyonce, and to sit there and not get the album, the Grammy is like.
Well, the other, and then because then the attitude then is, well, she broke the record for most Grammys won, so she shouldn't. And then it's like,
why can't she have every blood clot thing? Why can't she have everything?
Or why can't she have the one thing that actually symbolizes and signifies the fact that she has the best body of work as an artist across all genres? They won't do it.
If she never goes back to a Grammy, I will not. I'm shocked she actually went to this one.
I'm not shocked. I think
the only reason I think she went is because she knew she was going to break this record and she had to be present.
Well, for that, but I also think that that this was an album that one, nobody expected from her, which is one of the many things that people think about when we vote for Grammy. I don't vote anymore. I gave up on it because it didn't mean anything when I voted. It's meant fucking nothing. And so, and even in multiple chapters, being a part of the New York chapter and the LA chapter, it's like we always the black people that participate in the voting always vote for everybody that's black.
I didn't even
so
know
it's
that
not even
y'all were voting. I don't know how they actually pick Grammys.
We had chapter meetings once.
I just be getting mad.
I'm gonna tell y'all this.
This is the one.
Once Macklemore won over Kendrick Lamar, we were all in emails with each other like, we need to have a chapter meeting because what the fuck just happened here? How did Macklemore win? And we realized we are underrepresented in our chapters. The majority of the categories that some people submit late, so may not see all this. So some people may not see all the submissions when they vote if they vote early, and you can vote early, but also when it comes time to actually pick and choose based on category, like they won't. If you voted for someone else, like just naturally, it's like filling out a Scantron. Sorry, I'm gonna age myself.
Wow.
But when you think about filling out a Scantron, right?
Yes, I'm with
mentally, if you are filling out a bunch of C's, you don't. At some point, you're like, nah, I gotta vote for B because I've been doing C too much. Just naturally, if the inclination is to vote for Beyonce for every fucking category, by the time you get to that, you might just be like, you know what? Let me just vote for somebody else just to say I'm not biased.
In my head, if you're gonna do that, don't do it on the album of the year category. Don't do it on that line of the Scantron.
But it's also, I think, again, I think there's still that underlying, undercutting idea that's like, she's just too good. We can't give it to her, which is so shitty. It's just such a despicable power move.
But I think everybody, including Beyonce, knows that that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. At this point, it is. It's like when she lost to Adele, it was like Adele putting up these numbers, Adele putting in that work. Adele has a track record.
Yeah.
But
we
then
all
you
know
see
that Adele is a reincarnated black woman.
Correct. So when Adele gets up then and says, "What the fuck does Beyonce have to do?" We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, had she lost to Adele, I think we would have been like, "Come on, Recording Academy," but we still would have celebrated Adele.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it was a newer artist that, not to say he hasn't put in the work, but a newer artist that, has plenty of time, right? To get to this place, to be nominated from a legendary standpoint. Because the one thing the Grammys is always going to do is nominate a legend. They're always going to give something to a legend. They gave Bonnie Raitt the Song of the Year. Let's not fucking kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves.
I saw a tweet that said, I thought this was Reba, and
let me tell you something.
Could not breathe because I too thought it was Reba.
I knew the shit was rigged when a Ray Charles compilation won for like best album over Usher Confessions in like 2003 or 2004. I remember watching and being like, oh nah, this selection process is really is not what we think it is. When the Ray Charles compilation won for best album over Usher Confessions, because he had died that year. Yep. So it was like, well, he died that year, so we got to give him this because he's never going to win again. So he's never going to make no more music for us to nominate. So
that's the perfect segue to the openers.
Let's do it.
Let's
get to the openers. Let's get there
because we will be here for literally the duration of the podcast. It really is going to turn into See the Thing Is, and we are big mad, and it's still fresh. I don't think I've talked to this, but anyway, yes. This will bring us to the openers.
Yes.
So our icebreakers. We have 7.
Oh shit.
And two have to go, and all of their work, everything they've written. This is fun for me because you are really an artist. Like, this is like whimsical with other people, but this is like real for you. Usher, Trey Songz,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Brown, Frank Ocean, Neo, Miguel,
Mm-hmm.
D'Angelo. 2 have to go in all of their work.
Trey Songz and Frank Ocean can go.
This makes me feel better that you said Frank Ocean because Frank Ocean is one of mine. And people be right here at my neck as if like, I'm like thinking about you is good, but you know, I know
Frank Ocean is a personal one.
I was
so
about
I'm
to say,
always-
I know that's sensitive for you.
It's giving
I
duck,
literally, as I
it's
said
giving
it,
it's giving Duck Hunt. Like there's only one thing to shoot on the screen.
I literally, as I said it just now, I was like, oh wait, I know the back.
Yeah.
I actually know the background to this. So this is. So yes, well, I'm glad you're riding with me on that one, even if it's personal.
Yep.
I know Trey Songz be out here just racking up the charges, so I know I'm gonna have to change my answer soon. But I really did enjoy. Trey Day.
I love. Listen, passion, pleasure, pain. What was that?
Yeah.
I love that
Trey
album.
Day, Trey
Yes.
Songz, like his.
Oh my God.
Listen, anticipation, the mixtapes.
Listen, Trey has done some masterful R&B, some toxic R&B work, and I love it for
loved
him.
it. In the middle,
However,
was,
I'm not sacrificing a D'Angelo catalog or a Chris Brown and Usher catalog.
I sacrificed D'Angelo. D'Angelo wasn't it for me. Like I love Brown Sugar, Devil's Pie. Okay. Yo, you look hurt to your core.
Devil's Pie, okay, is nuts.
You look hurt to your core.
It's a little jarring to me. It's a little jarring.
I was never a huge D'Angelo fan.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I could deal with I'm gonna pick in the middle over how does it feel. I'm just
okay.
So I'm sorry. I have memories attached to Trey Songz. That's nostalgic.
Oh, okay. See, I have memories attached to Voodoo. So that album for me is.
I feel like nostalgia is a hell of a fucking drug, and I think that is really what drives a lot of these decisions with us. So, but it makes me feel better that we're aligned on Frank Ocean, whether it be personal or not.
Yes,
so.
yes. I was like, it's giving overrated, but carry on.
Okay. Second question.
Yes.
Top 3 R&B albums of your lifetime from when you were born, April 8th to now. Yo.
My heart hurts.
I know that's really
top 3 for me.
For you, yeah, your favorite 3 R&B albums.
Okay.
Don't make me snort on the podcast.
Shit. I only get 3?
You only get 3.
Tony Braxton, self-titled.
Okay.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Good one.
Great one. It's technically R&B.
Yes, I consider R&B.
Brandy Full Moon.
Okay. So I always expect somebody to say Confessions in there. And that's, Daniqua did not say, and she was like, Confessions is on a lane of her own. She also said
Confessions is amazing, but Tony Braxton, I mean, I'm a vocalist.
She said Tony Braxton too, though. She said that same exact album, which is an amazing album. Okay?
Nostalgia. We talked about nostalgia. Yeah. I had no business singing Tony Braxton at the young age I was singing Tony Braxton.
To this day, when...
There is a home video VHS somewhere of me singing 7 whole days at 7 or 8 years old.
Please know.
In a Gap fit. I remember the fit because it was something I was proud of, but I was singing that.
Once the beat drops anytime, to this day, I will tell you how many ways that I love you. 1, 2, I love you.
It was the breath for me.
Listen.
It was the breath on that. It was a lot.
I've never loved a nigga like that.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
Okay?
Never.
Listen. I
probably never will.
Listen. I don't know where she was at. Like I feel like it was drugs. Because I have been in love. You are engaged. And she is and she's not even with the nigga that she can count those numbers to. So
no,
it's given delusional.
No,
I have a theory about that too, but that's another podcast.
Okay, but yes, those are probably my 3.
Okay,
yeah, Tony Braxton, Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, and I just said it.
You just said Brandy Full Moon.
And Brandy Full Moon.
Yes,
that Brandy Full Moon for me was like a pivotal point of life. That was high school for me, so that was major.
I really did enjoy Brandy. I feel like I liked Full Moon, but I was always a bigger Monica fan, and that was when the feud was happening.
See,
so I felt like
I was a Monica fan and until full moon. Once full moon came out, I was
no, Brandy snapped on
nah.
full moon though. Brandy snapped
That
on full moon.
transitional, and to be honest with you, I'm gonna have to say it's a little bit of a tie because Writings on the Wall had the same effect on me.
Writings on the Wall does not get the credit that it's supposed to.
Writings on the Wall for me
'Cause
also
that is a
had the
classic.
same impact that Full Moon had on me.
Writings on the Wall was like,
Yeah.
that was the point when I realized that Destiny's Child was not a child, because they were talking about cheated and they were talking about how everything was affected.
Thou shalt not. Like all of the in-betweens, I was
the
like,
creativity, the production. See?
Yeah.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
So usually the last question I ask for the opener is, what song can you like rap or sing word for word? But since you are an artist, I decided I'm going to stir the pot a little bit and ask, what is your favorite song of your own?
Ooh. Ever?
Your personal favorite that you've ever, I don't want to say written. I want to say like it's your song, like on your albums, on your EPs, whatever. It's yours. You sing, perform.
It's a song I did with Jerry Wonder, and it never came out. It's called Afterlife. And Chris Style wrote it. Chris Style is the same girl that wrote Special Delivery.
Which you know
is everybody's vibe.
I don't give a fuck. I will ride for Special Delivery, okay?
And many will. And to be honest with you, it's always the records that the artists are like, oh, not this song, that all the fans love. Always. It's always that.
You don't fuck with that song?
I didn't in the beginning. I didn't like it in the
Bitch, you
beginning.
came out
Do you
swinging.
know why? Well, I'll tell you the reason why that became the single was because we started, when we put together my set list for Essence Fest, and the label was like, yo, just finish off with 2 songs that you're going to put on the album. Like, let's just finish with these 2. And there was one called This Love, which Jerry Wonder did also, and then Special Delivery, which Eric Hudson did. So we were like, all right, cool, we'll just finish with those. And I don't know where I was at in my life or relationship at the time, but I just started crying and I was singing it, and everybody in the audience was singing it with me by the end. And I brought it back. Like, I brought back another chorus and everybody was singing it. And so the video footage made it back to Jay, and everybody was like, "Oh no, this is it. This is the single.
Girl.
This is
no,
the one."
you came out the gate.
Yeah.
Like,
you
literally started with I remember watching the video. Like, you had a lot of leather on in the video. I do remember that.
It was hot.
It was a lot of leather because you was in Coney Island, and you had multiple leather outfits.
I had a leather coat. I had a leather jacket on with fur. And then leather pants.
You had on a lot of leather. That's when you was in your goth era, because you had the black hair with the little peekaboo.
Well, because that was where I was trying to go with it. I was trying to do alternative R&B. I was never trying to be the Special Delivery R&B girl.
Yeah, nah.
I was definitely more in which to me, I mean, and I was before my time in my opinion. I was definitely less.
You were. I think so.
Definitely.
I literally remember the video vividly, because you were like, wrote him a goodbye letter today. And then you were like, this, push it away. I was like, yeah, you better give them some, push that nigga away. And then when you got to the chorus and you were like, you hope your tears don't dry before because you want him, because your petty ass wants him to feel the pain. Wow. I'm a petty bitch, so you know that shit really, to this it came on, I think it came on like Spotify or Pandora the other day, and it's so funny because I was singing it like I had a nigga that I had just recently lost, and I was like, oh shit, this is my friend. It's so weird hearing you and remembering that you're an artist. Like, we always argue about this.
Yes.
We always argue about where we met.
Yes.
For me, I met you at the Charles R&B birthday in 2019. You said we met beforehand. I don't remember where it is because alcohol. But when we took the picture
at the moment, I don't remember where either.
Yeah.
Because alcohol.
Yeah. But
alcohol now. But I don't I don't remember exactly where it was. But I know it was prior to that. It was in New York somewhere.
I don't remember what it was, but I remember you were at Charles' thing, and I remember you and Danique wore clothes.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, you're Danique's friend. I'm talking to her. I'm like, I literally see your friend Bridget. And she was like, tell her I said hi. And then we started talking. And we have a picture where we were both drunk.
Smacked.
Wow.
Smacked.
Wow.
Yes.
But we became friends at Charles and Shireen's housewarming. Shout out to Charles and Shireen.
Yes. We love y'all.
Love y'all so much.
Big energy, yes.
Shout out to R&B House Party. Also, another good ass smack time.
Always.
Please keep the reposado away from me the next one.
No, but we did. I think And it's interesting because it was right before the pandemic when we became cool,
Yeah,
and then the housewarming was literally February.
Right. And we were talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
We were talking about you doing the podcast that you have now, actually, which I'm very proud of you for. Like,
thank you.
You made a lot of changes for this podcast. Like, I remember us talking drunkenly in the house. And everybody has an idea for a podcast every once in a while. Like, everybody thinks they can do a podcast.
Absolutely.
Especially people who are in an industry space. Like, it's just like, okay, well, I'm industry. I have the popularity. I have the following. A podcast just seems like a natural progression.
Yes, it does. In my mind, I still don't see myself as a podcaster.
Really? I mean,
like, I am. I mean, I am a full-time. I haven't released music or made music in now 4 years. So I'm a.
Damn, has it been that long already?
The last project I released was 2019, and then the pandemic happened.
Yes.
So 2020 was really like I had a show in DC on Valentine's Day, and then I had a show at Sony Hall the day after that, which was where I met Jess, which is very funny. Because we ended up coming up here and going to the Row, and then going to the other bar that's right next to the Harlem Chocolate Factory, and then Jess came, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, I had a whole year of music plans for 2020. I had my entire calendar was booked out through September with music
Corona
performances, and then Corona happened, and it was like, nah, everything just got completely. I had South by Southwest totally got disbanded.
And that would have been a great look for you. Like,
Napa, I mean, Napa Wine Festival was another thing. There was like a something during Coachella with a brand that when they want to do a brand sponsorship, I was going to perform at their like offsite. It was just a lot that was kind of on the docket for me music wise that did not pan out. And so I was kind of in LA, and I was like, well, my car lease is up, my apartment lease is up, and our landlord is not really pressing us because, you know, it's a pandemic. So he's like, at this point, what are we gonna do? We're gonna put you out and go where? But even all those things considered, I was kind of like, well, what am I doing here? Like, what am I? And I prayed really hard on it, and I prayed like, yo, if there is, I don't want to go back to New York. I do not want to live in New York again. But if there is something for me in New York, if there is something for me, I'll go. And literally within like a month, Joe called me and was like, yo, I know you're not fucking with me right now. Because I had beef with him at that time.
I love a Virgo man.
He's like, I know you're not fucking with me right now. Which, by the way, is a Virgo man, a Virgo apology.
That really,
that's a Virgo apology.
100%.
Male or
like,
female, that's a Virgo apology.
With me, but,
I know you're not fucking with me right now, but I have an idea and I want to run it by you. When are you gonna be? Like, where are you at? When are you gonna be in New York? I'm like, well, I'll be in New York in a couple weeks. We'll sit down. And so I met up with him, and Mandy was there, and it was like, all right, cool. Let's see how, like, you know, I've always told you, because Joe had literally said to me since 2015, 2016, like, hey, you need to do a podcast. And I was like, bro, I'm not doing a fucking podcast. I'm a singer. What are you doing to do a podcast? Like, no. Anybody wants to hear me talk and come to my show, because I talk a lot in between my songs. So just
have a conversation.
Yeah, we can talk then. Like, you pull up on me. We kiki, we hee hee, we ha ha on stage. Like, we'll pod then. And he'd been telling me since like 2015, 2016 to do a podcast. And so then in 2020 it was like, yo, I'm launching a network, and I really want you to do a podcast. I know I've told you to do it a million times. This is the moment. Like, this is your moment. And so I sat with Mandy, and I was like, you know what? I love Mandy because I did Horrible Decisions as an artist. I went on her platform.
I do remember that episode.
And so, and I just loved her energy, and I loved how unapologetic she was. I loved how unfiltered she was, which to me is a safe space, because when you're dealing with somebody in a conversational way that owns their shit 99% of the time, it just creates a really comfortable environment for it to be kind of a no judgment zone, just 100%. All across the board. And so her and I talked. We were like, yo, let's, you know, we're throwing ideas out there about what we should call it, and, you know, what it should look like. And so we launched it, and it you know, went through several seasons and phases.
It had a few changes.
And we've come out on top. And I think it's, I mean, and I was telling you earlier too that something I'm working through in therapy now is the concept that life, you know, life has always happened to me in my favor. Like, it's happened for me. Life has never really happened to me. It's happened for me. Even things that I've like purposely evaded in the process, like podcasting. At some point, something has come full circle and now brought me back to this.
I think it's so funny because, like, you said you don't see yourself as a podcaster, but a lot of people, and you know there's no shade because I love you and I love you as an artist, but a lot of people only know you as Bridget the podcaster.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that though.
You are.
Because to me music was always a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So to me that one is not more a part of me than the other.
Okay.
It's just expressed differently. It's just on a different medium. So in my mind, like I'm an artist. I just happen to be speaking instead of singing this time.
Sometimes when I listen to the podcast, I always wonder, do you feel like you're one or the other? Or do you feel like your music has taken like a back step to podcasting?
I think for the sake of time and focus, it's kind of been put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as my level of passion around it, it hasn't changed. That's why, to me, that's why it's hard to see myself as a podcaster. Because even when I was on Love and Hip Hop and that was the majority, even putting out music, being on Love and Hip Hop, more people knew me from Love and Hip Hop than knew that I was doing music. And I think that in general, it just has to do with, one, the timing of my presentation. And two, I just think in general, like we're not accustomed to and suited for a long drawn out process of acclimation with an audience, right? Okay. We're in an era now where everything is consumed and in a microwavable way. Everything is fast, whether it's podcasts, whether it's music, everything is instant. Everything is social media, right? We had Billy B on the podcast recently, and she talked about the fact that like, yo, TikTok is her shit. TikTok is her medium. Like that's where she can thrive. That's where she can engage with her fans one-on-one. They'll roast her. She'll roast them. It's like, that's where they get a sense of who she is. Doesn't make her any less hard of a rapper. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't, she's from East New York. There's nothing that's going to change the fabric of who she is. But there's certain elements to your personality that, you know, in the framework and the climate of the industry now, they have to be accessible to people. So when I was being groomed and developed as an artist, there was nothing about my personality that anybody was like, yo, you'd be dope on a TV show or you'd be a dope host. It was like, oh my God, you're so funny. So when is your music coming out? So now the conversation has kind of shifted to, well, now you're this really dope podcaster. Like, what's next? And it's like, well, I'm an artist, so I'm gonna just go back and do music because now I'm making money. So it's not about money for me. Now I can really do what I love, and not say I don't love podcasting, but I don't see myself as a podcaster, right? And I'm podding with a podcaster, so that's why I can make the distinction so staunchly is because I can look at someone who is incredibly passionate about the art of conversation and furthering that, you know what I mean? Pushing that narrative and changing that dynamic within the media broadcast space. That's not my dream. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
No, but it's real. And you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of Rihanna. Like, shout out to the Rihanna concert that's happening this weekend.
Yes.
AKA the Super Bowl.
The Rihanna concert.
The Rihanna concert with football attached to it. But, like, that's what I think about with it. It's like, Rihanna does so many different things, so many extra things, and people be like, oh, wow, shout out to Fenty Beauty, shout out to Savage Fenty. Like, she already bought the stuff for, I don't think it's come out yet, but like her home line. And everybody's like, yeah, shout out to you and all these endeavors and being this billionaire, but when's the album coming out? She has given us so much. I'm wearing Fenty shout out to Rihanna, I'm wearing Fenty right the fuck now, okay? Yeah. I'm wearing Fenty right the fuck now. And people will not even care. They be like, all right, well, so when's the music coming out? Like, it's really hard when you're seen as one thing to like space it out. But I see what you're saying with like you being an artist and how it's multifaceted, and it's more so about, and you know how I feel about this, the storytelling. Yes. Like the storytelling is my passion. Like I'm not an events person. People are like, oh, you're a writer. I'm like, no, I'm not. People are like, oh, you have a podcast or you're a podcaster. None of that is a thing for me. Yeah. It's the storytelling. Yeah. So I understand that.
But that's also why I call it, I'm an artist, because at the end of the day, for me, I'm going to be passionate about anything that I'm doing. So whether it's I'm talking on a podcast or I'm making a project, there's nothing that I've done in my life that I haven't been passionate about. Even now to Love and Hip Hop. I think when I went on there, the purpose for me was to find a way to leverage that platform for music. Yeah. And I didn't figure out how to do it the first season because I didn't know anything about it, and I was in a relationship, so they amplified all of those mistakes and all of those
I
decisions
completely forgot about that.
versus I mean, thank God, me too. But so but they really, like, you know, the first season, that was what that was about. And then the second season that I did, I released an album during that season.
You sure
and we
did.
were able to literally leverage that to a show. We ended up to a trip. We ended up taking, it was the first trip that the Love and Hip Hop
London, right?
cast to London.
Look at me
To be able
remembering
to do a
things.
show.
Shout out to
So,
me.
you know, and
Shout
all
out to my
those things
vitamins.
considered, it was
Because
vitamins.
I smoke weed, y'all. I
Come
don't
on,
remember.
let's go omega 3s. We love omega 3s for you.
The mind is minding right now.
Yeah, so to think about that, like, and how the second time around I was able to really optimize that platform. I now look at it like, all right, cool. So now I'm in a position where I can make more money. I've made more money doing everything but music in my career. I've made more money doing everything but music. But I haven't loved everything the way that I've loved music. So now that I'm in a position where the money just comes, now it just comes. Now I love potting. I love being able to share a stage with somebody that has a completely different point of view than I do and a completely different perspective than I do, and but can still meet me where I'm at, and vice versa. And there's such a mutual love and respect there that's not competitive, that's not petty, that's not childish, that's not rooted. We both have the same idea about our purpose there. And I think that's where where you don't see a lot of that happening in music or in podcasting, to be honest. So because I'm grateful for that opportunity, I still feel like, no, I don't think I'm ever going to be comfortable being resigned to one thing. I was never one thing. Just because people knew me for music, okay. But then I became a reality personality. Okay, but now I'm a reality TV personality, and you can see that I have a sense of humor, and I don't take myself or anybody else seriously.
Very unserious.
Very unserious.
That's why we're friends, actually.
That's why it works.
Because you know I'm unserious.
Unserious as fuck. Just we gotta work on our nonchalance.
We spent the first half of this podcast talking about Grammys, but it's clearly not supposed to be about that.
And neither one of us are nominated or were there, so it's different.
I was at home watching via Twitter. So.
I was in bed screaming at the television like everybody else.
I turned off the television because I gave up.
But yeah, I think I'm an artist. I'm always going to define myself as an artist, because that to me just means that I am literally creating the environment around me. I'm creating the space for myself to live and thrive, and everybody else has to be adaptable to that, to what I create. And so even whether it's a podcast space or a music space, or moving on, and now I'm beginning to produce podcasts myself, and now I'm in a position where I'm like, anything that I'm going to do. That's why I said I'm a flower to many and a weed to some, or a few. Anything that I'm going to be planting seeds within is going to be, I'm going to make sure it's fertile soil, and I'm going to love it.
And I know we talk about lessons on the podcast, but I have learned, and it's taken me a very long time, that it's really fuck everybody else. Like we joke about this, like the cliche saying, like, well, if it makes you happy or whatever. Yo, legit, your partner, the people who you love so much that you can consider them in your life, those are the only people who matter. Because when you are in your house losing your mind because you are doing something that you don't fuck with or you aren't happy, those same people who want to put you in the box or were worried about what you were doing, they are not there to help.
Surely are not.
Like, at all.
No.
So I am proud of you for creating the space to change your mind.
Thank you.
And standing in it, because also people apologize for changing their mind. I'm one of those people, so I'm very hypocritical.
I mean, I apologize for changing my mind all the time. I apologize for everything all the time.
I mean, I feel like you stand in like who you are as the artist.
No, I think I've just lucked out in that the circumstances have worked in my favor.
Really?
That when I've changed my mind, that it's worked for me. Even in moments where it maybe didn't work for me, it still worked for me. So I didn't have to defend it that hard. I didn't have to go hard with, I changed my mind. So, and what? And I never had to have that kind of energy, because the proof,
it just worked out.
The proof was kind of in the pudding. So it was never really an arguable moment. It was never really a disputable point. And so that to
now
me,
that you say that, I'm like, okay,
there's a privilege to that, I think, for me, where it's like I haven't had to fight that hard to make those kinds of changes. A lot of that stuff has happened kind of without me having to seek it out, or without me having to be really adamantly anti something else in order to be pro something.
I think that also speaks to how multi-talented you are.
Thank you.
You look so cute. Thank you.
Because I forget. Listen, I'm working on accepting compliments.
Which is wild, because you have a Grammy.
Rather than matching
like
compliments.
You won a Grammy. Like, You are like, it's weird because I know I'm saying these things and I know you know them because obviously these are your things. But like, I really forget that you are an artist, like a musical artist. Yeah. But that's because that's the testament to how good of a friend you are. I will say that because you said during your intro that you are a friend and you are a great friend. Thank you. Like, I think that you are an amazing person. You show up for your people. You check on your people. Yep. No matter what's going on, you are there. Like, I, again, not sure how we got so close, but I'm pretty sure it was on your end more so mine. It was. Not because I don't love you.
I was like, hey, Siobhan, what are you doing?
But also because
what you got going on? What's on your schedule?
True.
Let's hang out.
I can be disconnected sometimes.
And you'd send me a picture and you'd be under your blanket on the couch.
That literally, like, people be like, oh, Siobhan's outside. What we doing? And I'd be like, y'all, I'm home.
You're like, I went out once this month and that was all the footage that you saw of me, and then everything. And I stopped posting.
People be like, yo, you're on Instagram outside all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's just multiple posts from the same day. Like, but no, so I really appreciate that because it wasn't, I know I can be disconnected sometimes, but I think you have a really good.
No, I do the same.
But I think you're so good at connecting with people, especially when you really give a fuck about them. Like, you genuinely connect and make sure everybody is good.
Because I think I lucked out in having people do that for me. And I don't think I always knew that. I don't think I always trusted everybody's intentions because I didn't trust myself a lot early on in my career. And I let other people that didn't have a fucking clue either kind of guide me in the wrong directions a lot of the time. And so I think that kind of jaded me a little bit in terms of trusting that people had my best interest at heart. And not even that they were malicious towards me, but that they had their own, they just had their own agenda. And and if indirectly it fucked me over, that wasn't, you know what I'm saying? That was supposed to be acceptable for me or acceptable to me.
And also, if people don't know you in a certain way, they do the things that they think is best for you. Right. Not actually what is best for you and what is genuine and authentic to what you want. Right. So I can completely see that. And you've been in so many spaces and you've done so many things. And we've talked about this briefly, but I want to know what you think. Like, now that we've revisited all the things, and it may change because what was your biggest challenges through all these different phases of your life?
Accepting accountability has probably been the hardest one.
You know, you have to elaborate on that because you're making this face, and I need to, because this is not what we talked about. So please elaborate.
Ooh,
you look like even accepting the accountability is like,
it's painful,
tearing you up right now, and I understand that.
Well, no, because I think I love that this show is called Take the L, because I think I have always chalked everything up to a lesson instead of a loss without actually weighing the loss, right? I did my friend Blue's podcast, Blue Toulouse's podcast, Humanized, recently.
Shout out to Blue.
And she literally was like, yo, you were robbed. Like, you can say that. Like, you can, like, I'm getting teary-eyed now, even like going back to
Daniqua making me blood clot.
Like going back to moments where I just took what I got. I took what was given to me because I didn't know enough about myself to demand what I wanted. And two, once I knew for real what I wanted, I didn't trust myself that I really knew better, or that I was right in what I might have asked for. All across the board, career-wise, friendship-wise, relationship-wise. And so I think accepting accountability for me now looks like, understanding that sometimes the lesson is loss, and being okay with that. And that's the part that's like, like, no, I don't want to process it that way. But it's true. Sometimes the lesson is lost. Sometimes you have to grieve what's lost. The time is lost. You can't get the time back. The relationship is over. You're not going to get another shot at trying to redeem yourself or let them redeem themselves to make you sleep better or absolve them or absolve yourself. Friendships too. Jobs, like that season is past, that moment is gone. And so I think the lesson of loss for me has been really heavy the last like year and change around friendships, around shit, even being an artist and accepting that like my voice is not going to sound the same as it did when I was 25. You know what I mean? My body doesn't respond the same way in the gym now that I'm 36. Like it doesn't. Things are different. Like
everything is different. Not even things.
Everything is different, and time has an impact on all of it. And I think accepting that the accountability for me is the acknowledgement that, like, okay, the loss. I'm not lost, but I'm experiencing loss, and whatever that grieving process looks like for whatever it is. I mean, I'm grieving the fact that I've gained 30 pounds in a pandemic. Like
the pandemic was a pandemic, but also when it came with the money, so did the Uber Eats, and that's actually the real problem.
And the seasonal depression. Which is, I mean, that's a loss too. When we think about how much energy we've spent on trying to comfort ourselves, and then punishing ourselves for comforting ourselves. That way. Well, for feeling that way, but punishing ourselves for comforting ourselves, like punishing ourselves for trying to find ways to cope and find ways to kind of alleviate some of that pain or that angst.
And first of all, you even talking about the accountability part, like, I don't know if you realize, it sounds like you're saying the accountability to yourself.
100%.
Is like you're like, oh, the loss. And I'm like, it's actually the hardest to be accountable to yourself.
100%.
I will do anything for you.
Yeah.
If you call me like, I need you to get up in the middle of the night and do that, I'll be like, girl, let me gas up Lil' Kim.
Yeah.
My Jeep. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm talking like people know who the fuck Lil' Kim is. Lil' Kim is my Jeep.
Yes.
And I will come to see you.
Yeah.
But if I need to get up to do something for myself,
it's so much harder.
Absolutely
so
not.
Much harder.
My alarm has been set for 5:30 every single morning, and the way that I snooze it until 8 o'clock every day.
5:30.
I want to. Here's what I want my day to look like. That's
okay.
First, because
you
again,
have a goal. I'm not gonna.
No. But you can talk about it because I don't hit it. I don't do any of it. So actually, you can say whatever.
Sis said we snooze till 7:30 every day.
A good 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's to the point where Ginger be like, "Damn, bitch, like." You really gonna let this thing ring still? Like now I'm up.
Because now you sound her dream at 5:30. Right.
She don't even get up at 5:30 from her bed anymore. She just be like,
she's like, yeah, this
she
is
doesn't
fake.
even like before she used to look at me.
Yeah.
Now she just like, I'll wait till she gets up and then I'll move.
Got it.
But because of my seasonal depression, in my head, the way it looks like is a routine. Like they tell you, oh, if you have depression, if you do anything, get a routine, it'll make you feel better. So in my head, waking up at 5:30, praying, journaling, working out, meditating, making my coffee, reading my emails, and then getting into work. Like that will happen in the span of 5:30 to like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I wake up at 8 o'clock after snoozing it for 2.5 hours because I don't have that accountability to myself. And it's like, even with the season of depression, it's like, sometimes you need extra help. Like, I remember I was talking to my therapist and she was like, have you ever thought about medicine? And the way I wanted to punch her through, like the Zoom, because it just feels like there's a level of failure with the season. It's bad enough that you think, wow, what do I have to be depressed for? That's actually the first thing that comes up for me anyway. I don't know if it comes up for you or anybody else. But it's like, I have friends who love me. I have a roof over my head. Even though my job situation is a little shaky right now because of the whole layoff thing, I still had money. I still know that if for some reason, if I put a GoFundMe up link right now because I had no money, I would probably get more than enough for my rent or whatever. Like I have people who support me and love me, all these things. So what do I have to be depressed for? So there's like the guilt of feeling depressed. And yeah, it's seasonal. So it's like, all right, the sun is going down. Like it's so now I'm depressed every year for half the year. Like, it sounds crazy.
Now my depression is contingent on daylight savings? Like,
daylight
savings.
Like, so now I got to spend money to actually find some sun or go back to the beach or wherever.
Right.
And now I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be saving money. So do I have to pick the saving and then the health? And then you're telling me that you have a pill to help me. And it's like, no, I don't want to take this pill because one, what if I'm hooked on it? But two, I should be able, as a strong Black woman, to be able to get out of this depression myself. Right. So there's just a lot of layers with it, and it's legit because the sun don't come out.
It's true. And I think for me, the pinnacle for me was the marathon. When I got separated from my group and I realized I was going to have to run it by myself. Yeah. And
Jesus.
The reality of that for me was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this. Like my brain, I was ready to run. I shit you not. I was running. I ran across the 135th Street Bridge. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to run to the train station from Harlem. Like, I'll get to Harlem.
Oh, my God. Over the bridge where we saw you?
Yes.
Bridget.
So when I got my running coach, so the head trainer from the running coach, from the running program that I trained with for this marathon was in the Bronx. We saw them in the Bronx coming around like the Western Beef by like 138th in the concourse. I pass her and she's like, oh, I'll run with you. Cause she's like, yo, I saw the girls, whatever, that ended up being able to skip the line and start early. She was like, they're struggling too. Like they not hot out here either. Like don't feel like you're alone in this fight. And I was like, no, but I am alone. I've been alone for 20 miles. I'm alone. So it's like, it's lonely out here. It's not big I Am Legend energy out here right now.
Yeah, because you were very like,
oh,
you
my
were very
spirit
close with them.
And my spirit was broken before the race started. So to start I had a whole meltdown. So by the time I actually hit the race, I had there was no excitement. There was no,
your energy was just
my
not
energy
there.
was just not I checked out. I checked out before the race. And so my body followed suit. And then, I'm out there for 6.5, almost 7 hours on my feet. And I realized like my body, it was not a question of mental fortitude at that point for me. It was like, I am literally barreling through this. I am I'm running through peanut butter. That's what it felt like. And in my mind, when I was in the Bronx, I was like, no, I'm going to get to Harlem. There's probably going to be nobody there because the sun's going down at this point. Like everybody is probably like, at this point, if they're not at the finish line, they're going home. They're not going to still be outside rooting for anybody because why would they do that? I wouldn't do that. I'm like, and it was hot that day, so it was like, no.
It was unseasonably
I'm like,
warm.
it was big climate change, global warming energy.
I was like, wow.
I was like, everybody's going to want to be at happy hour somewhere at this point. Like, nobody's going to be outside. And I was literally like, all right, cool. I'm wondering what train I could probably, I run across to 135th, get on like the D, and then just take the D down to 59, take the C, whatever. And I get off the bridge, and I make that little turn onto the avenue. And I see y'all. I see you. I see Daniqua. I see Kyrie. I see Shireen. And I see Charles. And I am.
You were bawling.
Bawling.
You were.
Well, because at that moment too,
I didn't even realize it was that deep.
I was ready to quit at that moment. I was like, it doesn't even matter now. I don't care. Now I don't even care. I was in so much pain. I was so exhausted.
That makes me feel better.
My headphones died. My phone was
you
dying.
Told me. I would have bought you a whole new pair of headphones to pass to you.
Girl, the way that we had to be at Staten Island to start at 6:00 in the morning.
Wild.
I didn't start.
I would have missed my own race.
I had a Mophie. I had a portable charger. My portable charger was dead because I was literally on Staten Island at 6 a.m. and I didn't start running until
like 11
o'clock in the morning.
That don't make no sense. So why are you standing there for 5 anyway?
Because it's 30,000 people, so they have to have it ready. Either way,
again, I'm not questioning the logistics, but I don't work there.
I realized the accountability part really sunk in for me during the race because I thought to myself like, my why was not enough. My why in that moment was not enough. And that was so devastating to me. Like my reason for wanting to do it was like, no, you can finish what you start. You can finish strong. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And at that point it was like, no, I can't. And that feeling alone was just like, what the fuck? What do I do with that I can't? And I did it. I finished it. But it was like everything that it took for me to get there was everything outside of me. If I hadn't seen y'all, I would have been on the train.
You know what's funny? I don't know. Well, I don't think we were friends then, but I did the Brooklyn half, and legit, what you were saying is that's why I'm registering because it was the exact same reason. I'm like, I never finished the things that I start. This podcast took 5 fucking years.
I know,
literally. Honestly, this shit could end any day.
We're invested, but we're invested, but we're not tethered now.
Okay, Sean be like, all right, so the podcast. Sean will send me a text message like, so what are we doing?
Right.
When is Bridget coming? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. We do gotta.
Right. We gotta
launch some more episodes. Like this shit could go any day. Honestly, don't get attached. But I was in the race and I remember being like, oh, this is some dumb shit. Why the fuck did I do this? Like, this is the project that I started that I wanted to finish. Yeah. I remember being at mile 11 and I wanted to cut my own fucking thigh. Like, the pain was going to my thigh. And at the end of the race, I had the same revelation. It was like, yo, the only reason I finished is because I knew people were at the finish line waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have left any other reason. And
I still would have left and met them at the finish line.
Yeah. Well, I was going home. I was going back to.
I was like, nah, I'm gonna train. I'm gonna link them at the end of Central Park.
I was leaving Coney Island. I was gone. But it was a sad thing, but it was also kind of like a realization about my characteristic. Like, I have to include other people. It's fine that I do things with other people, but I have to find the balance of myself and the other people.
Which to me was a big loss for me, because me growing up, I was an only child till I was 14. And then my sister was adopted. So it was kind of like, all right, and we were the same age. So it was like, okay, now I have a best friend. Yay. But it wasn't like, I never had to share anything. I never had to So for me, I was always by myself and I hated it. No. There was nothing about being by myself that I liked. Nothing. I had attention when I didn't want attention. The attention that I got was for the wrong type of shit. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I actually realized and recognized the things that I wanted to be seen for, none of that really mattered, because everything else had already, the dynamic was already kind of set in stone and set in place between my mother, myself, my father, and then my sister, who we have polar opposite personalities, but I would die for her, obviously. So
you talk about her so highly.
She's amazing. She's the best. But yeah, the marathon to me was the realization that there is nothing that I can really do by myself. Even though like I technically did the marathon by myself until I got to like mile 22, and then I have to tell everybody that I ran it. My physical trainer was literally on the course when I was running, and was like, yo, you want me to run? Do you want me to run with you? And I was like, yeah, because I'm not gonna make it. Like we are now 6 hours in. Like I'm, my knees, my feet. At this point, I have my socks in my hands.
Yeah,
I'm soaking wet because every mile stop, every water station, I was throwing water on my body because it was so hot that I didn't want to get dehydrated, because I saw a lady pass out, saw somebody else trip on cups.
Nope.
Like it was a horrific. The conditions were horrific for a marathon, to be honest. None of us had trained for that. And so, yeah, I was soaking wet. I had 2 fanny packs on. I had a windbreaker on. I had my socks in my hands because I had KT tape. My feet were swollen. I had plantar fasciitis, so everything was cramping. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to make it. And he ran the last 4 miles with me.
Shout out to that man.
Yeah, shout out to Purcell. Shout out to Purcell Duggar. He's great. And he did. He crossed the finish line with me.
Purcell. I feel like, I feel like I met him. But like,
you might have met him in person once or
like
twice.
The mix.
There's a lot of circles that cross.
Yeah,
that
I was gonna say I've seen him train y'all, and I feel like I met him maybe like once or twice.
Yeah, he trains Tracy. He trains Tracy too.
Yeah, so that's also probably where I see him.
So yeah, I mean, it was really the realization that like, okay, I did it, but I would never have been able to do this by myself. And I did a lot of it by myself, but finishing it, I couldn't finish it by myself. And that was heavy. That was a hard pill to swallow, where it was like, as much as everybody was celebrating, like, yeah, you ran a marathon, you did, it was like, no,
the purpose was not actually fully fulfilled.
No,
because
it wasn't.
It was for you.
It wasn't.
But it's funny because, like I said, I had the same thing, and it was heavy for me for a second, but then also the realization that I can't finish alone. But do I want to was what hit me. It was like, yo, I could do this all by myself, but I have the support system.
Right.
And I'm so blessed that I never have to do anything alone. And I get where you're coming from, because it's like, damn, I'm an adult. Like, I feel like I'm a functioning adult.
It would be nice to do something alone. It would be nice, but
to like do something and be like, I did
it's
this.
solely yours, yeah.
And you did do it. Trust and believe, regardless of whoever helped you, you did that, Bridget, because we didn't run 26 fucking 2.2 miles. Let me not forget the 0.2.
That's true, 0.2.
Because that 0.2
was
count.
a bitch.
Yo,
be fucking clear. That 0.2 kicked my ass. The only reason I was even able to give a little jog at the end was because there was a man that was on a wheelchair going backwards, and I was like, no,
okay,
you will not beat me. The double Aries in me was like, bitch, nah, you got
the stamina I need to do as well.
Right.
But you did do it by yourself. But I think that the biggest lesson is also like, you're never going to be alone, no matter what you do.
Right.
So I hope you take that with you and know that. I know that was heavy. Again, I'm not discrediting any of that, because that shit it's kind of fucked up when you be like, damn, so what can I do?
So what can I do? Like, what power do I actually have?
And it's always the people like, yo, you're such a superstar. You could do this. You could do that. And I'd be like, where's the evidence? Where's the research?
Show me the receipt.
What are you basing this off of?
Yeah.
Because we're friends? Because you love me?
Yeah.
So I get that. I truly do. But I think there is a little beauty in the fact that you'll never have to go through the hard times alone. Whether it's a marathon.
It's true.
Any of the things. Like, I'm going to be there with my Go Poppy sign.
I still have that sign.
I know. I told Cheech to steal it back so I can use it at your tour. I said sneak. I was supposed to steal it from your house when I was there.
Yeah,
when
it's definitely still there. I'm never
cheated at
throwing that
Uno.
out. You mean when you were just willfully ignorant at Uno?
You didn't even say Uno out. Hold on, no, I don't give a fuck. We
polling
the producers.
You didn't know about Uno out.
When
you didn't know about Uno out.
You're right. I didn't.
That was my point. I'm not standing for Uno out. You're not dragging me down on that one. That was not my rule.
Okay, because I listened to the podcast and Mandy said Uno out,
and I was like, oh wow,
and you said it's settled, and I was
settled.
Like, it's not settled, bitch.
It's settled. I feel like we got outvoted.
When you're playing Uno. Do you say Uno out?
If
when
you
put
are
your last card down?
You have to give context.
No, I'm asking the first question.
No.
Okay.
It's all right. Go ahead.
When you're putting your card down, you're about to get out. You said Uno already. And you're putting your last card down.
And you are getting out of the game.
What do you say? Uno out. You have to say Uno out. Have to, or do you just say it because you do? You have to say Uno out. Do you have to say Uno out, Sean? Y'all niggas is different. Hey, you don't have to say, the game is called Uno.
I mean.
No, it does. No, they do not. No, they do not. I know, I play with niggas from New York. You do not have to say Uno out. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give y'all.
It's only if you have to pick up. You have to pick up, let's say you.
No. Now y'all are adding additional circumstances.
Yo,
no.
I wish the camera could see
Uno
Ty.
out. It's just
because
Uno
Ty
out.
is literally.
No. So the other argument was.
So I'm gonna give y'all Uno out. I never have to say
and
Uno out.
And that's it. And it's game over. You won.
I know,
Uno
mad
out.
people. I can see why y'all say Uno out. The game is called Uno, not Uno out. So technically, you don't have to say Uno out. Listen, we are doing it all wrong. But I literally did not. When I tell you words to everything I love, like even playing at Temple, did not grow up saying Uno out. None of that. Like play with people. Do not say Uno out. But what pissed me the blood clot off was I gave them Uno out. I said, all right, I didn't know we had to say that. Whatever. I had my 2 cards. We playing stacks, only with numbers because we never play with colors because those are for serial killers.
Correct.
So if you play with stacks with colors, I don't know what type of nigga you are.
I also don't know who taught you that. But
who taught you that?
Not talk to them anymore.
Why would you just put the deck down? Just put the deck down. But anyway, playing. I had 2 5s. Bang. Put the 2 5s down. I said Uno out because it's the 2 5s. It's the Uno and the out. These niggas said, not Bridget, I will say, but your fiance. So by association.
By association.
They said I had to say Uno out. Excuse me,
Sean? Wow. Sean didn't even dispute, and his wife says yes.
That's what I was talking about when I was.
Your wife did not say yes.
I got Uno.
Wow.
I was talking to her about.
Because you have to get Uno first. Uno is like, I'm here with the 1 card.
All right, I'm done with this conversation. This is my podcast. Shut this shit the fuck. Shut this conversation off.
And here we were talking about accountability.
I said accountability to myself, nigga. Not to these niggas. Fuck out of here with that. The point is, where's my camera? Right here. The point is, when you are playing Uno, establish the house fucking rules. That's actually the real lesson in all of this. Because I would have accepted the Uno out.
You haven't accepted all of these people telling you that it's Uno out.
No, I didn't accept it because it's the point.
She's not accepting everybody telling her it's Uno out right now.
Because I want y'all to know how serious I am. And the thing is, I asked them at the beginning of the game, what are the rules? And they just assumed. That's actually the real reason I did the poll, because y'all assumed everybody knew that Uno out was a thing. And I had to prove to y'all that Uno out was not a normalized thing.
You're right. And 17% more agreed that it was Uno out.
It's actually more, because some people said they hit Uno out by accident, and they asked me what it was. Like, literally, I swear to you, by my edges. And you know how I feel about my edges.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So like
very well preserved. Well
thank you.
Yes.
So okay.
Yes.
We went on a tangent, but we're about to wrap this up. I have my two closing questions.
Yes,
for
come
you.
on, closers. We love a closer.
My two closing questions for you. Daniqua laughed at me the last time I said this, but are you proud of yourself?
Yeah.
You looked at me like you were about to curse at me for a second.
Like, bitch, the fuck kind of question
I
is
didn't
this?
know if what you were gonna say. Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And my last one is: do you consider yourself successful? This was a little trickier, huh?
Right. This is like, we're on the path.
Okay.
We're on the path.
What does success look like for you?
Success for me looks like contentment within the confines of the life I've created for myself. And I'm not there yet, but I'm on the way there.
Okay.
So for me, a lot of why I was not able to maximize my music and my music recording career was because I couldn't support myself doing it. So after a certain point, and I wasn't going to just do what a lot of other artists and people do when they don't have money in that entertainment field. So I wasn't interested in succumbing to some of those processes. And I think success for me, it really does look like contentment with whatever outcome happens with whatever choices I make. I think really success people define their success based on their confidence and conviction in their choices. I'm still working on trusting myself and trusting that I know what's best for me. I'm still working on that and being convicted in that. So I think I'll be successful when I get to that place of not questioning myself as much as I still do, I think.
Okay. I'll take that. I also want to offer you that you should give yourself a little grace, because I don't think anybody has it figured out, and anybody.
Oh no! Well, that's why I'm proud of myself.
Okay, I was
because there's a lot of things. Listen,
I'm like, there's 80-year-olds that still don't trust themselves.
No, but I think when it comes being an artist and having peace requires that you trust yourself. To have peace as an artist requires that you trust yourself. Like, we can look at historically every single brilliant vocalist or brilliant songwriter or brilliant musician that we've studied or loved. And they've all been victims to circumstances out of their control, or got caught up in situations where they thought they were in control and they ended up not being in control, whether it was addiction or, depression or, just not taking care of themselves. Like, there's so many different reasons why artists die young. But I just think in general, in the entertainment field, it's really difficult to feel successful when there's so many other things around you that are meant to throw you off and deter you from what you feel like you're supposed to be doing. And I think for me, I've been able to kind of shift my focus into different areas and arenas that I feel are strengths of mine. But does that necessarily determine success? Am I at peace all the time with my choices? Not always. There's been some choices, some things, I mean, even recently that I've kind of looked at and been like, I don't know if that was the right move. I don't know if that was the right decision. I don't know if I handled that properly. But I think, I always lead with good intentions. I've never gone out of my way to be nasty to anybody. I can count on one hand the amount of people in my 36 years on this earth that I've had a real falling out with that I don't bang with, which to me, speaks volumes, because I know a lot of people that just go out here burning bridges left and right and don't give a fuck. And I'm not one of those people.
Charizard, just burning every fucking thing. I love Charizard as a Pokemon, but it's all right. Sorry, tangent. Go ahead.
Childish ass grill master. So, yeah, I think from that, in that regard, that's why I say I'm proud of myself, because I think I've survived a lot of circumstances and a lot of scenarios and situations that, one, nobody else has ever been in, so they can't tell me what it's like, and two, most people will never be in again. Like, they'll never be another first artist on Rock Nation. They'll never be, another new artist that's gonna share the stage with one of the greatest rappers of all time. There's never gonna be, tours where people were front row and center, interested in being engaged with the artist versus filming it on camera. Like, those kind of moments for me, I've lived through a lot of those incredible times, and I don't know if anybody that's younger than me or anybody that's coming up into their prime could ever appreciate any of that. So I'm proud of myself.
As you should be.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna end one more thing.
Yes.
What do you think is your biggest and best lesson? Like, what have you learned that you just are like, I need to remind myself, not bringing the whole tequila bottle. What do you think is your biggest lesson that you've learned, but also you wish other people knew? Okay, I'm not drinking that with you, so I don't know. I have
It's gonna be a half shot. I'm gonna do a half shot.
Yeah, girl, I'm gonna be right here.
We've turned it to Ty with the shits. Look at you. I love this for us.
Ty really be on the podcast.
He's a rider.
Ty's a rider. Every podcast I've had, Ty is the additional member of the podcast.
I mean,
that.
I support it.
I am not. I'm driving.
It's giving Drink Champs.
Drink Champs actually had a good concert with that. Get us drunk and talk shit. But yes, go ahead.
Shout out to them because they definitely bought ad space on the pod. So we love you. We love you, Nori and DJ fan.
Shout out to the cash.
Yeah, biggest lesson.
Do you want to take the shot before so you can really get your thoughts together?
No, I'm gonna think. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like you needed that first.
I'm telling you, tequila tastes like bad decisions.
I love me some tequila. Reposado tastes like bad decisions, but they still my favorite ones. Ooh.
Biggest lesson. Time is never on our side.
Shit.
Biggest lesson.
Yeah.
Time is never on our side. So even when we think we have time, we don't. But also when we rush through things because we don't have time, we're still wrong. Mm-hmm. Time is the only thing that we are not in control. We'll never be in control of. So being present is probably the most important thing for me now. I have a really good friend that's has a terminal illness, and I'm watching him kind of slowly deteriorate. And there's a part of me that's like, wow, I wish we all go through those elements of like, well, I wish I could have spent more time, or I wish we had. And I'm kind of at that place of acceptance of like, nah, we have 17 years of friendship that have been phenomenal, like incredible memories, incredible times that to me are worthwhile. And I look at even my career, and I'm like, damn, there's so many moments where, maybe if I had come out a couple years later, maybe if I had spent more time developing my craft and my sound, and being and spending more time in that bubble for myself to where I felt like an immovable force, maybe then I could have really sold that to people and closed people on it and made believers out of people that didn't really see it. And in all those moments, I just think to myself, like, the timing wasn't right. The timing wasn't. If people weren't interested, there was nothing I could do about it. Like, none of that. The acknowledgement of time, ultimately comes down to just like knowing that I can't sway anybody else. I can't make a believer out of anybody if the timing isn't right. If the moment isn't mine, like I can't argue about what moments are mine and what aren't. If they don't feel like it, if it doesn't manifest that way, if it doesn't culminate that way, I can only do the best I can. I can only do the best I can with what I got.
Wow,
that's it.
And that is a lovely way to end this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridget.
Of course.
Thank you for coming on here.
Oh, no, thanks for having me. Thank you for finally fucking doing this podcast.
Okay, so everybody's just going to drag me every fucking episode.
Uno out.
Not on this show. Do that on your own
show. Not on my watch.
Not on my... Shout out to Iyanla. All right, so tell people where they can find you and what you have coming up next.
Oh, man. So I am on See the Thing Is podcast. You can check us out. You can listen to us every Tuesday and Friday. You can watch us on YouTube every Wednesday and Saturday. If you want to join our Patreon, because that's where the real shit goes down. Mandy and I be going toe-to-toe about a lot of different things. And we cry on Patreon a lot. Like, it's a lot. It's big Iyanla energy on Patreon.
Not Save My Life Patreon.
It is big Save My Life Patreon. So if you guys are interested in that as well, there's several tiers on there for all of the budget conscious folks. And that's patreon.com/seethethingispod. And we're going on tour.
You have a fucking tour, and I'm
ready. I'm ready.
In the VIP.
I'm gonna see the Go Poppy sign. I'm gonna fucking lose it.
I'm embarrassing y'all. I don't care. I'm embarrassing y'all within reason, but I'm embarrassing y'all.
I hope so. We're in LA on March 2nd. We are in Atlanta on March 17th. Philly March 25th. DC March 26th, and right here in New York City on March 31st. So
7 p.m.
It's gonna be a great great.
Got my ticket.
I know the VIP sold out. I couldn't believe it.
I can't. I went to show somebody. I was like, "Yo, these are the tickets," because they were like, "Oh, we forgot to buy ours." And I was like, "Oh, this." I was like, "Oh, it's a dub for you. You in the
it's
back.
over.
Call
It's
you
over.
Rosa Parks."
So spoiler. Yikes.
Sorry.
Not during Black History Month.
No Black History Month.
Damn.
All right. I'll think about editing it out.
But spoiler alert: the theme is early 2000s. So we will have an airbrush backdrop for us to take pictures in front of.
You know I got my gel post ready.
And I haven't decided if I'm going to wear my Coogee or my Juicy Couture velour for New York. But I'm still waiting. I'm waiting to find out. But yes, the theme is early 2000s. So baby.
You know how I feel about the theme. Okay.
So I'm expecting all y'all to come dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
Theme appropriate.
I'm glad that you told me that because now I can really prepare.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I love
that,
you.
gonna,
Thank you for this. Thank you. Honestly, I am so excited that you have decided to really share yourself this way with people. Because I love the other podcast. Don't get me wrong. I know and everyone's going to be like, well, yeah, what you mean? She does have a podcast, another podcast. But this to me is just so, it's refreshing. It's enlightening. It's enriching. I love this. I love Ty anyway, but this with you is fantastic. So thank you. Thank you for finally doing this. Yes.
It means a lot you saying this, especially like who you are and just, I was a little nervous with you coming on because I was like, damn, Bridget's going to be like, this bitch don't know how to fucking interview nobody. I was a little nervous.
No,
I didn't think that you would say that
I
to
get
me.
nervous, no, but I also get nervous because I'm like, you're my friend in real life. So now we're having a conversation. It's like, we have Bridget Kelly on the pod. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. I never know what to do with my hands.
I'm Bridget Kelly, so I don't know. Like, because I'm Bridget to you, so and to everybody else, so it's like, I'm Bridget Kelly. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And so.
All right. You're good on my nerves.
Yeah, we're leaving.
But
Bye, guys.
But yes. Please buy your tickets for See the Thing Is Podcast Tour. Tap into them and follow us on Take the L Pod on Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. And on YouTube. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
Yeah. So today's Take the L is Take the Love.
Oh, look at you with a promo.